Thank you for hanging tight as we were working with some technical issues here. So my name is Dean Allen Muir. I am the GSA Alumni Coordinator, and I am a proud 2005 musical theater alum. So I'm so happy to be here this evening with you and talk all things musical theater. And of course, we are also joined this evening by musical theater faculty member Donna Richards. So Donna, if you want to go ahead and give a brief introduction for yourself real quick to our guest here.
Sure. I'm Donna Richards. I am now located in the New Jersey, New York City area. Recently, as of August and September, uh, I've been with the program for a very long time. We'll leave it at that. I'm a graduate of the Los Angeles School of Performing Arts with a degree in dance and choreography, dance performance and choreography. I spent 13 years living in the New York City area, performing with touring companies and on Broadway. Then moved, had a family, taught in the Louisville area for 20 some years, and have decided to stop the regular teaching and have come back to the city area to do more project type work and be closer to my family. So that's a little bit about me. I am the dance component and choreographer for the musical theater department.
Thank you, Donna. All right. So then just so I can keep all of our questions in the same place, I am going to go ahead and turn that chat back off, everyone. So if you do have a question that pops up during the webinar, please enter it in the Q&A button at the bottom with the question mark. And then at the end of this session, we will go through and Donna will cover those as best she can. And if I have any insight that's applicable, I'll throw my 2 cents in too. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. So you may or may not be aware that we also have GSA 101 webinars, which those are dedicated to just breaking down the entire summer program and a more generalized application process. So we have a condensed version of that for those of you that may not have joined us for that. Go ahead and start this PowerPoint here. All righty. So, as I said, welcome. We are here this evening for the musical theater art form specific webinar. So our entire application timeline is right here for you. Those GSA 101 webinars, as I discussed, we do have 2 more coming up, one on November 6th and one on December 9th. And you may or may not be aware that the application portal is already officially open as of October 4th. Also, that's the same day that our new 2025 applicant guides and application walkthrough videos were released. You can find all of that information at kentuckygsa.org. And then, of course, you're here tonight because you're interested in applying for musical theater, which as an alum, I say go for it. But maybe you're going to be a double applicant, right? So you may be intrigued by some of our other art forms. You'll see our other art form specific webinar schedule here. You will see that musical theater is kicking it off this evening. So our 8 other art forms do all have their specific webinars coming up over the next few weeks here. And of course, throughout this entire process, we want you to remember that us here at GSA on the admin team are here for you. Our phone number is listed there for you. We are typically in office Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. And then, of course, if you want to shoot us an email, that'll be the quickest way to get a response from us. All admin team members have eyes on that inbox, so we're all able to kind of keep eyes on it and answer accordingly. So gsainfo@kentuckyperformingarts.org. And of course, our social media sites that you can follow along for all of our reminders and announcements as well. All right, so just to dive right in case you're not familiar with what GSA is, GSA stands for Governor's School for the Arts, and it's a community of artists empowering Kentucky's next generation of creative leaders. So what it really boils down to is it's an amazing 3-week summer program for high school aged artists. So upcoming juniors and seniors in high school can apply. And for those 3 weeks over the summer, you get to live on a college campus and participate in conservatory style training, which sounds a little bit intimidating, but it's so fun. And it's a little rigorous, but again, so worthwhile and life-changing. We do have 9 different art forms, as we've discussed. And those art forms are creative writing, dance, design, drama, film and photography, instrumental music, musical theater, visual art, and vocal music. So as a reminder, you can apply for up to 2 art forms, but you can only attend GSA for 1 art form. Another question we get sometimes is, what if I apply for 2 art forms one year and I get in for musical theater and I want to go back the next year and attend for drama? We appreciate you so much and love you dearly as an alum, but just to make sure there's room for everybody, every student is only able to attend GSA once. But we always welcome you back to the community as a volunteer or a valued alum. All right, so a basic applicant checklist here. So first thing you're going to want to do is visit KentuckyGSA.org, our GSA website. That is where you will find the applicant guide. Again, we have one of these for all 9 art forms, and it really specifically breaks down the expectations and guidelines for that specific application process. Then, of course, you're going to attend an art form specific webinar like you're doing right now. And then you're going to want to start preparing and uploading your materials nice and early. So you do have until January 12th, 2025 to submit your application. However, we stress this, fourth suggestion quite a bit, because if you do wait until that last week or the last weekend, especially, we have such an influx of everyone applying and uploading materials that it can start to slow the server down. So that's why we suggest getting a head start, really asking any questions you have here while you're in the art form specific webinars, or of course, reaching out to us via email or phone, just so we can get you ready to submit that application as reasonably early as possible, right? We want you to be prepared, but the earlier the better. So just a few items of note. You must currently be a sophomore or junior to apply. GPA, ACT, and SAT scores are not required. They are not taken into consideration for our program. You can apply for up to 2 art forms at GSA. And there is an application fee, which is waived for our students that qualify for free or reduced lunch. And if you apply for that, it's as simple as checking a box on the application. That application fee, for those who are required to pay it, it's $35 if you're applying for 1 art form. If you do decide that there's 2 that you're really passionate about, it's an additional $15. And of course, that application timeline, as I mentioned, January 12th is the deadline for GSA 2025. On February 14th is when our finalists will be announced. So in March, on the 21st and 22nd, we will have our final round auditions and reviews. So this is kind of split in a hybrid format. So our performing art forms such as drama, vocal music, musical theater, and dance will all have in-person final auditions. And then our more visually arts-based art forms such as film and photography, design, and visual art, and creative writing will do virtual reviews, portfolio reviews for their finals. And then, and instrumental music. I knew I forgot one. They're in person as well. So performance-based will be in person, and the visual arts-based will be virtual. And then, of course, April 11th is the big day that everyone will be waiting for, when we announce our accepted and alternate students to GSA. And then, of course, the 2025 sessions, because we have 2. The first one takes place June 8th to June 28th, and then the second one takes place July 6th through the 26th. All right, so that, my friends, my guests, is a quickened GSA 101 for you. Do we have any questions at this point? Let's see. What if we apply for 1 art form and don't get in? Can we apply for the same or for a different art form next year? Absolutely. In fact, if you apply and you don't get in, I 100% encourage you, if you're eligible the following year, to reapply. we start this whole process off when we're recruiting students and reaching out to you, just trying to say, if you can get to the point of at least submitting your application, at least just get to the point and submit it. Whether you get in or not, whether you're an alternate or, maybe we just don't have a spot for you this year, you should be proud of yourself for submitting that. And, it sounds very easy to hear and just kind of not process. But what you may find is that by doing that can really add to your confidence level to where that next year you're going to have that whole year to kind of reevaluate and be like, I really felt good about those songs. Maybe I should have worked on my monologue a little more or whatever it is. And you'll have that whole year to kind of reevaluate and get really excited for it, right? And work with friends that have gotten in or maybe a teacher or a classmate that like, hey, can you help me like work on this material for a year? So definitely you can reapply if you don't get in. All right. With that, we are going to hop over to some more specific questions. So let me share our 2025 musical theater applicant guide. All right. Chase Phillips, 2022 musical theater alum and National Presidential Scholar of the Arts. All right, so diving on in here to the 2025 Musical Theater Applicant Guide table of contents. We have a wonderful graphic designer here at Kentucky Performing Arts who has really, really cleaned up our applicant guides this year. And I'm just so happy that we have this information here for you and really eye-catching. So just to give you a little program description, so at GSA Musical Theater, students study dancing, acting, and singing with GSA faculty and visiting artists. The musical theater program is designed to provide students with intensive study in stage movement, jazz, and tap dance, voice for sung and spoken text, energy work for relaxation and physical awareness, scene study and monologue work, script and character analysis, an overview of musical theater history, research, and criticism of selected works from the musical theater lexicon, and audition preparation. Students present a staged performance of solo and ensemble work on the final day of the program. And then, of course, when you're looking at this at home, you can go ahead and click that link there, and it'll take you over to our Flickr album where you can view photos from our 2024 musical theater students. All right, so preliminary round application requirements. January 12th is our deadline, so you will submit the materials in this section through our online platform accepted no later than January 12th. As discussed, there's a $35 application fee, $50 if applying for two, unless of course you apply or qualify for free or reduced lunch. So for the preliminary round, you're going to submit the following: 2 recommendation forms, a personal essay, personal question video, art form specific questions, a monologue and songs videos. So you'll notice the plural. So you'll be doing 1 monologue, 2 songs, 3 total videos. So the very first part of this is going to be the 2 recommendation forms. So what you'll want to do is identify 2 people who will complete recommendation forms in support of your GSA application. Each of these people will complete the same form separately. Previous GSA application cycles have required recommendations from a teacher and a school administrator. The recommendation guidelines have changed in recent years to broaden the scope of who may complete these forms. So we're going to review those new guidelines below. So the recommendation form includes questions about your artistic abilities, potential, how you contribute to your learning environment and community, and your overall fit for GSA. So if you can select 2 recommenders who can speak to your artistic abilities, we encourage you to do so. However, we understand that not every applicant will have 1 or 2 recommenders who have experienced the student's artistry. In this case, we suggest that you select recommenders who can speak to your character, accountability, and or work ethic. So this could be teachers from inside or outside of your school, and in any subject. Maybe you work with a teacher who is a coach at your school that you don't have in class, but could speak to your character and accountability, right? School administrators, such as guidance counselors, mentors, or other people involved in your personal or artistic development, such as a coach, youth minister, or staff at an organization for which you may volunteer. So it's a pretty simple process. What you will do is enter the names and email addresses of each recommender in your online application, and those individuals will receive emails instructing them on how to complete the recommendation form, which will take about 10 minutes. So before you submit your recommender's information, we strongly encourage the following. So inform them you are applying for GSA and would like to list them as a recommender. Tell them that they will complete a short form via email and that their responses are confidential. You, the student, will not have access to them. And then ask if they have any questions about GSA and or your desire to apply. And then confirm what email address you should list for them and double check that you have the correct spelling. So we do, like I said, we have you inform the people that you'd like to ask to be a recommender for you ahead of time, just because you may not be the only student that is asking for a recommendation, or they could just have, enough emails that come in that you don't want that to get lost in the fold, or potentially go to a junk inbox or something. So make sure you let them know that you're going to apply for GSA and you'd like to list them as a recommender, and then double check the spelling of that email address. Make sure that you submit that information as soon as possible so that they have plenty of time to complete those forms, which are still due January 12th. So after you have submitted their information, we strongly encourage the following. Tell your recommenders to check their email. The email will come from donotReply@getaccepted.com, and it will be titled Documentation Request from your name for Governor's School for the Arts. Then ask them to confirm with you when they have submitted the form. Then tell them thank you, of course. If they have not received the form, ask them to check their junk folder and then double check that you entered their email address correctly in the application. If for whatever reason you entered the email address incorrectly, reach out to us here at GSA and we'll be able to go in there, make that update for you, and get that recommendation form resent to that recommender. Please note that once you submit your recommender's information, you will have to click back into your profile to access the remainder of the application. Accepted will refer to this next section as application part 2. All right, some additional information here for you. No letters of recommendation are needed, nor should you submit any. Recommenders simply need to complete the form they receive via email. Applicants are not able to review the contents of the recommendations. Applicants' parents and immediate family may not fill out their recommendation forms. While we encourage you to secure the best recommenders possible within the guidelines listed, know that we rely on your personal application materials such as your essays, artistic work, etc., as the primary tools to assess your fit for GSA. Recommenders have the option to choose unknown if they are not aware of the answer to a question, and this will not be held against you as an applicant. If you are applying for 2 art forms and using the same recommenders, they must complete 2 forms, one for each art form, even if their answers are identical. So just make note of that. If you are going to be doing 2 applications using the same recommender, they will get 2 separate emails, and they can fill it out word for word the same, but they will need to do it twice. All right. Before going on to the next part, oops. Donna, did you have anything to add to the recommenders portion of this?
No, not really, but the recommendations are important to us because it tells us a little bit about you on a more personal level.
Oh, all right. Oh, wait, let me check. See if I've got. All right. Personal short essay, 250 words max. So provide an answer to the following question in essay form. How can or why should the art form you are applying in be of importance to your community or society as a whole? Provide an answer that is specific to the art form that you are applying for. So some things to remember here are be open, honest, and authentic in your response. Like Donna said, let us learn something about you, right? This is your opportunity to showcase your personality. Upload this essay response as a document file. So type out the question at the top of your response so that the question and answer are both in the document. The question restatement does not count towards your total word count limit. And when uploading your essay, please title the file Personal Short Essay. All right, then of course there's a personal question video, 90 seconds max. Provide an answer to the following question in video form. Why is the art form you are applying in important to you? What are your goals for yourself as an artist in this art form? So again, you'll kind of see the same things reiterated, right? We're looking for open, honest, and authentic answers in your responses. You're encouraged to prepare your thoughts before shooting the video, and you may consult notes as you speak, but try your best to not just read off a transcript. We do want to get a sense of your personality, find those moments to make some eye contact to the camera, right? Um, we do ask that you begin your video by stating, "Hello, my name is," first and last name, and then record your answer in an interior space that is free from interruptions, noise, etc. Any siblings, pets in the background, any street noise. You want to get a nice quiet space. Do not edit or splice the video. It needs to be one continuous shot, 90 seconds max. And you do not need to include an introductory frame or any effects such as fades. All right. And then you will shoot straight on, leaving the camera in one location, and then review your video. Ensure you can be seen and heard, and ensure that your video plays all the way to the end. When uploading your personal question video, title the file Personal Question Video. And then, of course, we have art form specific questions. Applicants will be asked about their specific interest in their art form and their level of access to training, classes, and lessons in their art form. And again, this is just for us to get an understanding of what training you have, what experience you have, what access you have to those resources, right? Applicants can review the specific questions for their art form once they have submitted the recommender information. So remember I said after you submit that recommender information, you'll have to go back to the profile and you'll be in part 2. And that part 2 application is where you'll find these art form specific questions. And please remember, there are no right or wrong answers for these questions, nor are we looking for one profile of a student over another. Rather, we ask these questions to understand the applicant in the fullest context possible. All right. Donna, would you add anything to the essay or video essay or art form specific questions?
Just a couple things. In the essay and the personal response question, please read those questions carefully. They are not the same question. And so, we want to know, hopefully, I'll put it this way, hopefully we all do something in our lives for a reason beyond us. And we'd like to know how you feel your art form plays into the world around you and society. And then we want to know why it's important to you. Those are two distinct different things. So please read those questions carefully and take some time to consider that. Then in regards to the information about you and what type of training you have access to, and so on and so forth. Do not never feel that just because you haven't taken dance class and voice lessons and done um, drama classes and 20 productions in your short lives, that's defines you, because it doesn't define you. There are just as many well-trained actors out there, vocalists out there who can't tell a story, are not interesting to watch on stage. And that comes from within. So never feel ashamed, or that because you don't have access to all types of lessons, that makes you less in your talent, because that's what we're looking for, is true honesty of the person and the talent you naturally possess. So.
Thank you. And as somebody who did not have an official voice lesson or dance class before I came to GSA, I can definitely vouch for connecting with that feeling of being like, oh my goodness, I have no experience to list here. I have, no real knowledge in this field to contribute, but I really enjoy singing and I love dancing and I've always wanted to do this. So it's things like that, right? Where you have that opportunity to say, I've always been passionate about this. I grew up watching, Rodgers and Hammerstein musicals with my mom, and I've just never had the chance to audition to be in a stage show. And man, how fun that would be. So, really find that opportunity to share why this would mean so much to you and how that would empower you to go forward. And I mean, with teachers like Donna Richards and Sharon Kennison, you just can't go wrong. All right, so we're diving right into the monologue and song videos. So, as a reminder, begin all videos by stating, "Hello, my name is," and then first and last name. Then clearly state your monologue. So, it'll be the character and the title of the play and the playwright. So, for instance, my name is Dean Allen Muir, and I will be performing Romeo's monologue from Romeo and Juliet by William Shakespeare. I wouldn't suggest that for a musical theater audition, but hey, you do you. And then, of course, or your song. For each song, the title of song in the show it is from. My name is, and I will be performing. So same thing, if you're not familiar with the verbiage yet, we call this a slate. So slating, you'll give your name and what you're performing. And then, of course, your monologue video. So after your introduction, you will transition into your monologue performance. So your monologue should not exceed 60 seconds. It is okay if your introduction makes the video last a couple of seconds longer than 1 minute, but be sure just to, time your monologue and make sure it's fitting within that 60 seconds. It must be memorized. Give yourself plenty of time to get familiar with that material, right? It should be from a scripted contemporary play, so no period pieces or Shakespeare, please, and not a musical theater work. So if you're having, some troubles finding monologues, ask some of your teachers at school. Maybe you have a drama instructor. Google is your friend sometimes, but just make sure that, as Donna pointed out, we have the things on here of what not to do for a reason as well. So just make sure you're kind of checking back and forth to make sure, okay, this isn't a period piece, it's not Shakespeare, and it's not from a musical. And yeah, it's from a contemporary full-length play. Should be good to go. It should be from a character relatively close to your age or similar to life experience. And it is not a portrayal of a character of middle or advanced age or a character speaking with a dialect. We suggest you not select a monologue that focuses on a life experience you cannot relate to with honesty. So I'm sure, performers, actors, we love the challenge. We like to live outside of ourselves and, get to play and really dive into a different person, different character, right? Which can be great and wonderful for the purposes of auditioning for GSA. Again, we want to bring it back to that, authenticity and honesty. So, finding a monologue that, is from somebody who may be a teenager or close to, and maybe, it's a monologue talking about, parents just not understanding you, like, right? Or, something you can easily relate to, something that's accessible, right? I'm sure it's fun to play, the character 40 years older than you, so we can have some fun physicalities, maybe a hunch and a weird dialect, but not for our GSA audition video, please. Should not rely on props, costumes, makeup, or any other technical elements. A simple straight chair can be used if needed, but is not really recommended. And you can portray a character of any gender identity as long as the guidelines above are followed. So again, gender identity doesn't matter so much as long as you're not going into, something that's far off age or from a period piece, etc. We do ask that you avoid using monologues from the following works that are generally considered to be overdone in auditions. These include Promedy, Butterflies Are Free, Our Town, Quilters, Fantastics, The Star-Spangled Girl, You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown, and The Diary of Anne Frank. Anything you'd like to add about monologues before I discuss videos, Donna?
Um, what we are looking for in your monologue is the very best you. So make sure that the monologue is relatable to you without having to search for, wonder what this character was thinking. The other thing is, it is helpful if you've already read the play. Know where the monologue lands in the play, what's happened before, what's going to happen after, because that speaks to the character you are portraying at the time. And please, please memorize your monologue. Make sure you're so comfortable with it, it just kind of spills out of your mouth, so to speak. The stress, I understand for you all, is high enough as it is, and especially auditioning is something you have to practice. Didn't say you had to enjoy it. I just said you had to practice it. And so make sure you're really comfortable with that monologue and it's well memorized. If for some reason you blank, know that it's a video. Discard that one and try again. That's it.
Thank you. Excellent advice. All right, so going into the song videos. So as we said, it will be 2 videos, each with an introduction, a different song, and each 60 seconds max. So after your introduction, you will transition into your song performance. Perform at least 21 bars of each song, but do not exceed 32 bars. Each selection must be a complete musical thought. Long verses or repeated choruses are not recommended. So your 2 songs must be memorized, need to be suitable for family viewing, should come from musical theater works, but should not be from the same musical. One must be a ballad and one up-tempo, and each from a different era. So a good way to break that down is one song should come from a contemporary musical, meaning that it would have come out in 1970 or later. Some examples include A Little Night Music, Song and Dance, Little Shop of Horrors, Secret Garden. Again, just a few examples, not recommendations. Avoid songs from Broadway musicals that have been written, premiered in the past 2 years, excluding revivals, as these are often overdone. And one of your songs should come from a standard musical, meaning written before 1970s. So think Guys and Dolls, South Pacific, Oklahoma, Bye Bye Birdie. Again, these are just a few examples and not recommendations. And then as far as which era is your up-tempo and which era is your ballad, it does not matter. Just make sure that you have one of each. And then make sure for your song accompaniment. So record your song videos with live piano accompaniment if possible. If it is not possible to work with a live accompanist, you may use pre-recorded piano accompaniment. No synthesized orchestra tracks, please. You may self-accompany or sing a cappella, although singing a cappella should really be your last resort. Consider if you can ask a pianist to record an audio track for you to sing along to in your video. If you don't have access to this or know an accompanist, ask for suggestions from teachers, houses of worship, arts and culture organizations, or maybe some friends and family in your community. If you do want to reach out to GSA, we can try to see if we could connect you with an accompanist who could record a track for you. We like to say we could see what we can do. And then you can also research programs that provide pre-recorded accompaniment, such as Accompanist and Acapella Maker. So some additional video requirements to remember. Again, record in an interior space that is free from interruptions and background noise. Ensure you can be seen and heard as best as possible in the recording. Make sure the volume of the accompaniment does not overpower or obscure the sound of the voice, but rather supports it, right? We want to be able to hear you, right? After uploading, ensure that the video image is upright, not sideways, and that the recording plays through to the end. In the description text box beneath each video, please type out your name and either the character name / play title for your monologue or the song title and show it's from. And videos should not be from performance or competition. For example, a vocal recital, a performance you were in, a forensics competition, nothing that has previously been performed for a performance or competition. So these are fresh videos that you are shooting exclusively for your GSA application, right? And then any notes on the songs or final notes on the videos in general, Donna?
The only thing I would, when you are recording your video, make sure the accompaniment is behind you. If your accompaniment is next to your recording device, that will definitely overpower your vocal and make it harder to hear you. And the other thing that I wanted to add was at the bottom of once you've submitted your video and get ready to upload, underneath where the video goes is a spot for you to type in your slate. In other words, my name is, I am singing Oh, What a Beautiful Morning from the musical Oklahoma. Simply because you guys don't have access to recording studios. Sometimes the rooms you're recording in are a little bit echoey. Sometimes might be it might not pick up your recording may not pick up your voice real well, and it makes it hard to hear your slate. So it is helpful for us as adjudicators when most of the songs will recognize it. It sometimes comes down to the monologues that are more difficult to place. If that is at the bottom of the underneath your recording, so that we can attribute exactly what it is, the pieces that you are doing, because we track all of those.
Thank you. Alrighty. And then I don't know that we need to dive full onto the final round application requirements in depth, but is there anything specific about final round that you may want the applicants to keep in mind, Donna?
The only thing is that's the only time that you will be required to dance. And that is done because we do live auditions 10 days prior. If you do make it to the final round 10 days prior to that, you will receive a video recording of the dance that we want you to do. And it's all broken down step by step. repeated several times. And then when you do the final audition, you do not dance by yourself. You dance in a group, because we do 6 to 7 applicants at a time in a group audition.
Thank you. Yeah, so as Donna was saying, if you just want to look over here at this final round for musical theater, it shows you right there. There's a pre-audition questionnaire, monologue and song performance, and then, of course, that short movement exercise and interview. And then, of course, we do have in here the monologue and song performance requirements. So you'll see it's the same 21 to 32 bar song selection. Make sure if and when you are selected for the final round auditions to really look at bringing copies of your music that are clearly in the correct key and marked for your accompanist, because at final round auditions, pre-recorded accompaniment and accompanying oneself is not allowed. So you will want to make sure that you have that sheet music in the correct key and clearly marked should you and when you make it to the final round. All right. So the criteria, this is what we really like to dive into, just to give you an idea of exactly what our adjudicators are reviewing, right? So the work of each student will be given an objective review by the adjudicators as to how they fulfill each of the following criteria. The first being vocal health and range. So an ideal candidate sings and talks with flow and control of breath and with relaxed larynx and physical stance. Tone is resonant, balanced, and the voice moves smoothly from register to register. Connection of voice and text. An ideal applicant articulates clearly and changes vocal quality in response to the text, mood, and musical transitions. They utilize these techniques to inform character development, story arc, etc. Text script analysis and truthfulness to character. An ideal applicant performs with an understanding of and commitment to the goal of their character, truthfully demonstrating the arc of the monologue song. Vocal choices are connected to the use of action and movement, all of which are specific, intentional, and reinforce the character's objective. Dedication to art form growth and community. An ideal applicant demonstrates a commitment to and passion for their art form, as well as a desire and ability to grow as an artist. The applicant can thoughtfully and authentically explain why they want to attend GSA and how they are uniquely qualified to contribute to a robust, diverse community of artists. Musical theater dance concepts and techniques, final round only. So in the final round, once you are in that short movement exercise, the ideal applicant replicates choreography with body alignment and sustains energy. They also express characterization with their body movement, moving in synchronization with others while demonstrating spatial awareness with physical expressiveness. Any additional thoughts on the criteria before we go over some tips, Donna?
No, not really.
Awesome. So these are tips. These tips are suggestions. They are not eligibility requirements for admittance to GSA. So choose music that best highlights the strengths of your voice. So kind of what I was talking about earlier with the monologues, maybe there's a song you've just been dying to work towards and really like you've got to work towards it. Maybe don't pick those songs that are, the most challenging. Find something that really sits well. Obviously you want to show your best self, like Donna said. So you don't have to do anything easy by any means, but you also you want to make sure that you feel good about what you're performing, right? Because, you're most likely going to have some sort of, healthy energy, anxiety, whatever you want to call it. But, the more comfortable and confident you are with that material, the more fun you're going to have at the audition, which means the more fun that the adjudicators are going to have. When choosing your songs, try to find songs that provide contrast in rhythm, style, characterization, and approach. Be sure to understand the context of your songs. Understand the words and range of emotion needed for the characters of your songs. So, similar to how Donna said it helps if you've read the play that your monologue's from. It helps if you understand what show your song is from, where that is taking place, what's happening at that time in the story. What does that mean to the character? Select a monologue that is age appropriate from a full length contemporary play, and most importantly, one that provides you with a sense of connection to the material. Be sure to read the entire play, not just your selected monologue, and develop your intellectual understanding of the words, syntax, and meaning of your monologue. Memorize accurately and thoroughly. Rehearse the monologue and songs until you feel absolutely confident to perform them easily. Develop your physical and facial expressiveness as a reflection of the character as well as speaking voice. Pay close attention to the adjudication criteria. So again, that's one page up here, what we just went over. So make sure you're looking at that as you're selecting your materials and rehearsing them. While GSA students are accepted based on their holistic identity as a young artist, the criteria are the foundation of how your materials are being scored. And remember, the adjudicators are very excited to see your work and you, and they want to see you do well. We know it takes hard work to submit this application and that it can be scary to put yourself out there. But we have faith in you. So put your best foot forward and don't be afraid to show us the wonderful artist that you are. You provide a level of dedication just by submitting your application, and you should be proud of yourself. So just a reminder again, the application timeline and deadlines. The GSA application is open. It is due back January 12th. We will announce on February 14th the GSA finalists. Those final round auditions and portfolio reviews will take place in person and virtually on the 21st and 22nd. As a reminder, musical theater final round auditions will be in person. April 11th, 2025 will be the announcement of the accepted students and alternates for our 2025 program. And then, of course, our two sessions are June 8th to the 28th and July 6th to the 26th. The one notations we have on there is design is only offered in session 1, dance is only offered in session 2. All other art forms are offered in both sessions. All righty. Oh, one note I do like to put in here. So the actual platform that you are using to submit your application and videos is called Accepted, and that is not misspelled. There is not an E there in their name. If you are having any actual technical support uploading videos or editing your application or something like that, you would actually want to contact them directly, and that is their contact information for Accepted right here. If there's questions about the content and or the requirements of the application, that's when you'd reach out to us here at GSA. And again, we're here Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. And then our email is gsainfo@kentuckyperformingarts.org. So I'm going to stop sharing this and look over at our Q&As. So what percentage of students get in for musical theater? I'm trying to think of a percentage off the top of my head. So we typically see for all of GSA, right? We typically see from, I don't know, 1,200 to 1,300 applicants every year. And with two sessions, we see 512. And with musical theater, we've been sitting at what, have we been 30 students per session?
31 per session.
31, excuse me.
But we take 62. And we're right at now close to 50%. So if we take 62, but last year we had 186 apply. So we took 62 of the 186, plus our alternate list, in case somebody turns the program down or something comes up and they can't come. So that is an important list for us as well.
Thank you. Let's see. I don't know if you have suggestions off the top of your head. We had a question for what plays would you suggest for a teen girl monologue?
Well, you're not going to get very many plays with the 16-year-old or 17-year-old or 15 perhaps. So look for plays of students or characters in their early 20s. Some people can get all the way up to 30 and it's very, very believable. One that pops into my head is Ellen Mossonary. Has some really nice monologues in it. But there are a lot of contemporary plays. If you go online and Google search modern contemporary plays, characters 30 years and younger, why you'll get a list to pop up. So
Thank you. Um, let's see. So this is a more general question that I'll take. How are roommates chosen? A little more GSA 101 there. We assign your roommates here at GSA, so we do that internally to make sure that there are no students that are in the same art form or also from the same county. We try to get as much diversity geographically and art form assignments wise. Of course, if you have any special accommodations or requests, you can always reach out to GSA admin with those. Um, but yeah, so I see one other question. Just want to make sure if we have any other questions, musical theater related, but I will answer this one. Where can we find the recordings of other art form webinars? So after this webinar is finished this evening, we will download it and then re-upload it to our YouTube channel. And our wonderful program coordinator, Natalie, tries to have those up within 48 hours. So as I said, this is the first art form specific webinar. We go through November 14th with the 8 other art forms. So keep your eyes on our YouTube channel, and that's Kentucky GSA. Yeah, and we will have those all uploaded within 48 hours of when the webinar was. And then our full webinar schedule, as you saw, was listed in our PowerPoint here. We have it on our website. There's a handy little graphic on Instagram as well. What elements of dance will you need to prepare for?
okay, so normally I do a jazz combination for the audition purposes. So it'll be classic musical theater jazz movement. And to be honest, if you have had some dance, technique is I'm always going to look at the technique. But what more important to me and to the rest of the adjudication panel is that who are you when you move? Musical theater's story. Doesn't matter if you're singing, speaking, or dancing, you're still telling a story, and you have to be that character from the moment you walk on stage until you take that final bow. I can teach dance technique. That's my job. That's what I've done for years. What I can't teach you in 3 weeks, if ever, is how to tell a story through movement. That's up to you.
Right. Well, if there are any other questions, I'll let you ruminate for a moment or two. But before we go, Donna, what would your advice be to someone who was on the fence about applying to GSA?
Depends upon why they're on the fence. um, if it is not an art form that speaks to you and you want to dedicate some pretty hard work in 3 weeks to it, then maybe GSA application isn't for you. It is intense. I'm not going to lie about that. Long days, some shorter days. But musical theater as a profession is intense, and you better love it to be able to do it well. But if it's fear, I don't think I'm good enough. Well, I spent 13 years in New York performing, traveling, performing. And I cannot tell you I ever walked off stage and thought that performance was perfect. That's part of being an artist. It can always be better, and it requires a lot of hard work. So, it's not a competition. It's an interpretation. You show the very best you. And if it's fear that's holding you back, don't fear. You know until you try. So, apply.
Love that. Thank you. And then, I mean, that was a great, beautiful answer. So, do you have any final words on top of that, or?
No, not really. I look forward to meeting all the applicants. It's always exciting. Each year is different. Each class is different. And that's just like performers in a show. Each cast I joined was different and exciting. And yeah, I always look forward to the summers. They're my favorite.
Awesome. Well, I don't see any more questions in our Q&A, so I do want to thank you, Donna, for, joining us tonight and speaking to our potential applicants. Thank you all to our guests for joining us. I'm sending you good luck and positive vibes. As I said, if you have any questions throughout this application process, you can reach out to us here at GSA. We have all those applicant guides and videos on our website. If there are other art forms you're interested in, or if you haven't caught a GSA 101 yet, we have those webinars coming up as well. But with that, I will thank you for joining us this evening and wish you a wonderful rest of your evening. Happy fall, and good luck to all of you that are going to apply.